Hey, good morning. It is a YouTube Sunday with whole and complete you. Emotions. We all experience them. Sadness, love, joy, excitement, fear, all of them. They are something that have to exist in order for a balance to be with our yin yang, and you cannot have just one emotion all the time. So you cannot always just be happy. You cannot always just be sad. In order to keep the balance, you have to be able to experience all of them. You will never ever just be able to experience one, as much as we'd love to. So today, what I thought we'd talk about is the this how if we are suppressing our emotions, we are actually causing depression. So the saying goes, suppression equals depression. So this is about learning to actually be able to feel your feelings and experience them. So I think it's really important to look at where the suppression begins. Obviously, it begins in our childhood, and we're raising our boys to suppress their emotions by saying that boys don't cry. You're a wimp, you're a baby if you're crying. We are raising our girls to say that expressing anger or less desirable emotions are ugly. You don't do stuff like that. I know myself that I've had a tough time being able to express when I'm feeling not okay with a situation in the past because that was kind of how society was. It still is, but I also think that it's our responsibility to change that. So this video is meant to give information for us to take a look at how we're raising our children, if that's where you are at life. And then if you're an adult and you find that you're having these types of emotions, that's where this next part comes in. I feel like it is especially tough when you are on your spiritual journey, from a point of view where it's fear that is making you scared to not be able to express those emotions that aren't just happiness and love and joy and up on your vibrational chart. It's almost like you fear having any normal emotions because you don't want to lower your vibration. So things like when you're feeling sad, or when something upsets you and you are feeling angry, you kind of can get yourself into a little block there because you worry that it might lower your vibration. The other part is life in general. Sometimes I find that I'm so busy that you don't have time to express your emotion. It's not that you don't want to be able to, but in the moment, you can't go to work and cry. Well, I suppose you could, but I'm not comfortable with that. You don't go to work and start, being angry at people and stuff. And then let's say you have children, you come home, when do you have the chance to have some privacy to show that you're feeling upset about something, and really making that time out of your day for those kind of things. So what all of those things have in common is that suppression. It is all suppressing emotions, and we know that suppression does equal depression. One of the funniest things that I've ever heard, and I've seen it used with children all the time, is calm down. Never in the history of anyone telling someone to calm down has anyone actually calmed down. This is a concept to me that I find very humorous, because when I hear it, I kind of want to tell them, but I'm not going to say anything because it's none of my business. But let's start acknowledging emotions, especially in our children. I can see that you're really upset right now. You're crying. It's okay to cry. Do you want to talk about it? Helping them to learn to express it. Same with anger. Anger doesn't have to be ugly and big and, degrading people and hurting people. It is simply an emotion, and it's okay. Especially when we're children. Our children need to feel free to express their emotions as they come up in a little bit, so that they may grow into adults who also know how to express their emotions in a healthy way that leave everybody else that they're dealing with and expressing those emotions to feeling whole still. So when we're looking at our adults, so it's an analogy that has been used, and it's often used actually when they're talking about abusive adults, people who have become abusive to other people. And it's generally stemmed from a childhood where they did not learn to express their emotions. Mainly we're referring to anger, but it also includes things like sadness and other emotions. So it's I call it the pressure cooker example. So picture your pressure cooker pot as yourself, your body, your emotions, or I guess where your emotions are held rather. So inside this pot, it is, you put your lid on and your pressure cooker is on and it's bubbling and it's boiling, and eventually that pressure cooker is going to blow if you don't take the lid off and remove and let a little bit of stuff out. So where I'm going with this, as far as in reference to our emotions, is if we are holding in all those emotions, we're suppressing them, especially our anger, and you're in a relationship with someone who isn't expressing them, all these emotions, picture them getting tossed into the pot, and this lid is on tight, so nothing is ever seeping out. So eventually, it's going to come to the very top, and it's going to have nowhere to go. So all these emotions that have been held in are now at the top, and it's getting ready to burst at the seams. So that's exactly what happens. This lid comes blowing off, and out come the emotions. And that's generally when, these types of adults are maybe being physical, maybe they're narcissists, maybe they are emotionally abusive, whatever it may be. It's emotions that they did not learn how to handle and don't have the tools to understand how to express them. Now, honestly, that doesn't just go with an abusive type of person, because I can say 100% for sure that I've experienced the pressure cooker thing multiple times. Not to do with anger, because I generally don't tend to be an angry person, but specifically to do with sadness. Sadness has always been really hard for me to express. It's a very vulnerable emotion. So often what I would find happening with myself is I would hold in, every time sadness would come, I just hold it in. It's pressuring up and it's building and it's building, it's building, and then I'm exploding, and it's like you're letting out all these tears, not in front of anyone, because I wasn't comfortable with doing it in front of anyone, but it was as if like your whole world was toppling down because you had saved all these emotions. So you're not just crying about, I don't know, your burnt banana bread that you made, or the person that you got in an argument. You have saved up all these big emotions and little emotions, and they have finally come to the surface and they are exploding. So where I wanted to go with that is, why don't we have our pressure cookers and we leave the lid just a little bit off, a little ajar, so that every time we are feeling an emotion, any emotion, we are allowing it out little by little. So it never ever has that chance to build up. I really feel that the message is that it is okay to cry, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be happy, and we have to figure out where that fits in our life and what feels comfortable for us to express them. But the main thing is what we're doing to allow those emotions to be expressed appropriately. When I say appropriately, it shouldn't be ever hurting somebody else. It shouldn't be degrading them or putting them down. You can say, it makes me feel upset or angry when this happens. That's fine, but it should never be victimizing somebody else and putting them in that type of scenario just because you're angry. So today's daily challenge is something that you can practice every day, but specifically make some time out today to do this. So you're going to try and recognize throughout the day when you're experiencing any type of emotion that you would normally have trouble dealing with. So when you find yourself dealing with that emotion, take some time to observe it so that you're able to respond to it instead of reacting to it. We really, really want to avoid reacting to any type of thing. So getting in the habit of observing and responding to different stimulus throughout the day, whether it's a person, experience, a thing, whatever it may be, really, really helps us come to terms with appropriate dealings of emotions, and it keeps our vibrations high, even when we're experiencing some sadness or anger or any less than desirable emotions. So when you are finding that you're experiencing emotion, make some time to allow it. So if it's not convenient or not appropriate for yourself or according to what you believe in that moment to express it, save it, but don't save it for a whole bunch of time. So maybe that evening you make some time out to express those emotions. Maybe it's on your car drive home. I can tell you, I've had lots of car drives home where I just cry because that's the time when I'm able to do it. And, I'm not falling apart. I'm just letting it out because things built up too much throughout the day, and I'm just letting it out. It's healthy. It's good for you. You feel so much better after. So whenever the time is that you've allotted for yourself to feel those emotions, whether it's on the spot or later, allow it. You can scream, you can cry, you can go for a run, you can talk, you can exercise, whatever it is that helps you to deal with your emotions and express it and let it out. Embrace it. Just go with it and allow it to be there. If you start to hold in all those emotions, even, we were talking about the pressure cooker effect. It's not only that, you actually set up blocks in your life. So when you're trying to manifest things and you're trying to be in alignment with the things that you desire, you're putting up resistance and you're putting up blocks, and the things that you are trying to bring into your life are just not going to be able to come. And if they do, they're not going to be able to stay there. So it's really, really important to let things out and to deal with things and let them go. So once you've felt these feelings, you've allowed it, you've embraced it, you said, okay, you're here, I'm doing it, I'm dealing with it, make a mental note and a mental vision of releasing it to the universe. So I know I've talked about this in another video. So you're feeling it, you're letting it go, and you are picturing it going off into the universe. It's done. It's over. You can move on with your day. It's not going to come up at a later date for you to take out on somebody else because you've held it in, and they're thanking you, I promise. So another thing we can do actually to further that, if you find that you have extra time, is kind of like journaling it, I guess. So going with what you felt, you can write it down, talk about what kind of things were coming up as you were allowing it, as you were observing it, what happened before, what happened after. And it's just kind of to give yourself a little extra perspective. I do like to do those kind of things because for me it's not just enough just to let it go, because when you're faced with that situation the next time, you're just going to be dealing with it in the same way. So I'm always trying to figure out how I can approach a situation a little different the next time to perhaps avoid a response that seems so heavy in the moment. So the daily challenge is quite simple for me to participate in today, because the reason we're actually talking about this is because of me having to deal with this in the first place. So I originally had a different topic set up for today, and then Saturday morning came and we kind of started off on the wrong foot in this house here. One of my children is a teenager, and we all know teenagers have big emotions, and they're going through lots of stuff. They're really trying to figure themselves out in the world. They're really trying to figure out how to communicate those things. And a mother and a son relationship in the teen years can go through lots of challenges as everybody adjusts to them being older. So my actual experience with this was that he without getting too personal, because I'm sure he doesn't want me displaying this all over for everybody to hear, but basically he was upset about something, and he had very, very large emotions, but before those emotions came out, he was putting it on to me and having some very hurtful things to say to me. So what ended up happening is he left the conversation. He got very heated. He wasn't observing his thoughts. He wasn't able to express them, in a healthy way. So he exploded. It was the pressure cooker effect. There's things that he's been holding in, we haven't been talking about. So he ran, and he was upset, and he was experiencing some big emotions that he needed to let out, and he wanted to be private about it. So I respected that. He ran to his room. And I went to see if he was okay. I got told to leave, so obviously I did respect that, as hard as it was. And then there were my emotions. During the whole thing, I basically felt like I had to hold my tears in the whole time, because we love our children so much, and it's so tough to hear when they're saying those types of things, and you're trying to get through to them, trying to see if they can communicate with you, and for one reason or another, they're not feeling comfortable to do that. So it doesn't turn out it doesn't turn out on the path that you'd like it to be at that time. So anyhow, he's in his room, and he's experiencing his emotion, and I've come back downstairs, and I just couldn't hold it anymore. So I'm crying, and I'm crying, and I'm crying, and you feel like everything's terrible in the moment. But after I let it out, I felt so much better, because I felt like I could then deal with his emotions a little bit better, because I had expressed mine and let mine out. And normally that's something in the past I had trouble with. I would just hold it in and just hold it in and hold it in. So after that, I decided, you know what? I feel like this is something I want to talk about. And I was in no mood to be doing anything, to do with videotaping, because I just wasn't there mentally about any other topic besides this. And one thing that I really want to keep expressing in my videos is to be your authentic, true, raw, real self. That's the only person we should be offering to the world. So that's why we're talking about this today. And that's my daily challenge. And I feel like I did a pretty good job. I let it all out. I let my son express his emotions. And then it actually wasn't until today, so I am actually doing this video one day late, because of everything that went on, that we were able to talk about things. So he needed that much time to do that, and I respected that that's what he needed. If you want to talk more about this subject, or get some more guidance on how you may be able to express your emotions and be learning to deal with it, or if you have children that you're trying to teach them to express their emotions, I would love to discuss this more. You can email me at wholeandcompleteyou@gmail.com. If you liked this video, please like it and subscribe, and you can hit the bell notification symbol in the bottom so that you're sure not to miss any videos. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook for daily inspiration on becoming your greatest self, your greatest version, and living your greatest life. And finding your life purposes. I really put a lot of thought into my posts, and I'm sitting there. I look forward to every day. I sit down and I, type all the stuff in. I'm going like this because I do it on my phone. But I'm really, really, really wanting to inspire people to find their life purposes, to follow their passions. And as these videos get, further along, I have a lot of inspiration to offer you, because I'm going to start to be showing some of my passions, in hopes that it will encourage you and inspire you to start going after your life passions, and really, really pushing yourself to find them and live them and experience them every day. So I'm trying to do this last bit, and I seem to have one of my little kitties here. This is Chloe. She's come to join us today, my black kitty. So this is Pamela with Whole and Complete You, and I am sending you lots of extra, fluffing my nose, fur. I am sending you lots of extra kind, loving, and peaceful energy to help fuel you through your day. I am sending you lots of extra empowerment as you face your daily challenge, and you learn to observe and respond instead of react to the things that are happening throughout the day. I look forward to hearing how this has gone with you. So please feel free to send me an update on how you've done that. I am wishing you a wonderful and blessed day. Much love to you. And today I'm telling you to grab a stalk of celery. Ow, nails, hold on. A stalk of celery. They have, it's actually very hydrating. They're loaded with folate, potassium, B6, vitamin C. It's an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory. It reduces high cholesterol and blood pressure, and it helps to fight infections and ulcers. Have a wonderful day. See you later.